So let's talk about something that's incredibly common, but we almost never say out loud, that feeling of never quite being someone's first choice. We're going to get into what that actually does to your mind.
I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. It's not the simple no that hurts the most. It's being the backup, right? The second option. The person they choose when their first choice doesn't work out. That feeling hits different, and yeah, it's often way more painful.
Because if this sounds familiar, you should know this experience does more than just leave you with a few bad memories. It actually systematically reshapes how your brain works, how you see the world, and how you try to connect with people. We're about to break down exactly how that happens.
All right, so let's start with the first major adaptation. Think of it like you've developed a brand new sense, one that's tuned into the social world in a really specific way.
And this first trait is what we can call hyperawareness. It's this ability to pick up on things in social situations that most other people just completely miss. Now, there's a psychological term for this. It's called rejection sensitivity. And it is so important to get this. This isn't you being insecure or paranoid. No, it's a skill. It's a highly tuned radar for potential rejection that your brain built to protect you, based on what you've been through before. What this really means is you become an absolute expert in subtext. You notice that tiny hesitation before someone invites you somewhere. You feel the shift in a room's energy. You can sense that emotional distance growing long before anyone ever says the words. Your brain basically learned that the real danger, the real rejection, often happens in the quiet moments, so it learned to listen to the silence.
Okay, so this hyper-awareness, it usually leads directly to something else, a really deep-seated sense of independence.
And that brings us to trait number 2, a really strong, almost unbreakable independence. But this isn't just a preference. This is an independence that was born out of pure necessity.
And you know, the reason for this is pretty straightforward. If the support system that's supposed to catch you is, well, unreliable, your brain makes a very logical call. The only person I can truly count on 100% of the time is me. It's a survival mechanism.
And you see this play out in real life, right? You learn to deal with heartbreak on your own. You figure out your own problems. You might even celebrate your wins quietly because you're just not used to having someone reliably there to cheer you on. It's not that you hate help, it's that you just stopped being able to count on it.
So all this self-reliance, it completely changes the rule book for how you approach relationships and connect with other people.
Which brings us to our third trait. You tend to become an overgiver in your relationships. You're the one who's always putting in a little more effort, a little more time, a little more emotional energy.
Yeah, and this quote, it just nails it. The thinking is, hey, if I make myself so useful, so supportive, so completely essential, they won't be able to replace me. It's a subconscious strategy to secure your spot by becoming indispensable.
And what's driving that whole strategy of overgiving? Well, it's this fourth trait, a constant, low-level fear that your place in anyone's life is just temporary.
This single belief, deep down, can honestly run your entire life. It's why you might hate conflict or accept way less than you deserve. You see, you're not really afraid of being alone. What you're terrified of is being quietly swapped out for a better option.
But here's the twist. Out of all this pain and difficulty, a really profound kind of strength is born. It's a kind of resilience that, honestly, most people will never even see.
Think about it. You've been let down before, so you know the drill. When friends fade away or plans get canceled, you don't shatter. There's a part of your brain that just calmly goes, okay, I've been here before, I know how to handle this. Your strength isn't loud and flashy, it's this quiet, steady force that just endures.
And all that endurance, it leads to our final trait, a huge shift in what you actually look for in another person. Your priorities completely flip.
And this is a really important distinction. You stop chasing the fireworks of affection because you've learned they can burn out. Instead, you start looking for loyalty, the safety of consistency, of honesty, of real effort. Being picked once in some big passionate moment means so much less than being chosen quietly, consistently, every single day.
So, okay, as we've walked through all of this, I have to ask you straight up, does any of this feel just a little uncomfortably accurate? If it does, then there's something you really need to hear next.
Look, the whole point of understanding this pattern isn't to make you feel bad about yourself. It's about finally seeing it for what it truly is.
And this part is so important. If any of this hit home for you, please hear this. You are not alone. And you are not imagining it.
This is a real, understandable psychological pattern. It's a set of survival skills your mind created.
So, how do you move forward? Well, it really starts right here. The second you can look at these traits and see them not as flaws but as adaptations, as skills you built to survive, that's the moment you can finally stop blaming yourself. And that's when you get to start writing the next chapter of your story on your own terms.
If this explainer helped you put a name to something you've been feeling and see yourself a little more clearly, maybe like this video and subscribe. We'll be making a lot more content just like this to help you understand yourself better. Thanks for being here.